Welcome to the Reckon APS Practice Management Auto Fees course. In this course we'll cover the following. What is auto fees in Reckon APS Practice Management? We'll create auto fees by standing orders by matter and look at the relevant options, and create auto fees available WIP by debtor. So what do we mean by all of that? So auto fees is a process in which a batch of fees can be created based on either of the following. With standing orders by matter creates an interim fee and will be based on the matter details. So we need to store some information about the billing on the matter. The other option is to produce a bill or a fee available WIP by debtor. You could do write-offs, batch, might be month-end cleaning up, or just going to create a batch of all the available WIP at the end of the period. It's important to note that auto fees only create draft fees in your invoice work list. You're still responsible to review and complete the fee drafts as per normal. So let's have a look at how we create our auto fees. In order for us to do some fees by the matter, we need to look at the matter in more detail. Here we've selected G Person Family Trust, the 2016 annual compliance, and we're looking at the details of this matter. In the details section you have a bill type. You can specify here for each matter the type of bill that it will be. That bill type will then come into a next fee cycle. So when I'm doing my auto fees, I can say give me all the fees that are due in February. I can enter in my fee budget amount and I could use this on my fee. I could use this, or I could use last year's fees, remembering that last year's fee could be calculated from your housekeeping routine if you do that. Or we can enter in our auto fees as a nominated amount. So it's important that we have the billing type, or at least your cycle, and an amount that you want to bill to be able to create some auto fees. Opening up your fee batch console, select Add and use the auto fees option. Standing orders by matter, as I said, creates interim fees using the billing information, and that billing information was just on the matter. You then get to choose the field that you wish to base your fee on. In our case, we're going to use the fee budget. Depending on which field you select, the options down the bottom will be available to you. Based on that field that we've selected, we now need to know how to calculate it. Are we going to use the value based on the budget as specified? If we use it as a value as a fraction of the billing cycle, if I had monthly and I had $1,200, then monthly it will calculate $100 per month. You may also use a fixed amount. I'm going to select this option and select Next. I then get to use my filter criteria. You might filter this by partner, by matter, and in my case I'm doing it for the whole practice. I'm responsible for preparing the auto fees for anything that is due in February. Irrespective if it was monthly, quarterly, annual, etc., I'm grabbing the whole batch. Depending on your practice and how many auto fees you do, you may need to break this down further. The next screen will give it a batch name. Invoice date to be date of posting is our normal option that we select. We then have a choice to use the matter's standard fee narrative as the fee narration. That would look at the particular matter's standard fee narrative on the matter. So you can specify that as well when you're setting up the matters. In this case, I'm not going to use that option. I'm just going to select all of these items. And you'll notice here that we also have a particular person, Ivan, that might have more than one matter in that auto fee cycle. So we'll have a look at how the system will deal with that. If I select Next, because I haven't used a standard narrative, it does ask me, do I want to pick one here from the list, or you could use the Edit Narration option to go and put your own information in. Select Next. It's now going to create 7 invoices with that narration. As I said earlier, the auto fees process only creates the invoices as draft. They're not posted and they're sitting in our invoice work list. Because it's a batch, you can do everything in the batch. You might preview those, either from the work list or from your batch manager. Review each of these items and make sure that they agree to what you're expecting. If we look at Ivan H. Person, we can see that there was 2 matters in that extract, and we have that information here. So that one might need editing. His address is also missing. So we have the opportunity to go into any one of those fees and tidy it up. Go into that through your custom view, and you can edit the feed before you post. Once you're happy that the batch information is correct, you would go and process those fees in your normal manner. If you have fee approvals, promote it. If you're the person responsible to bill those, then you simply select them all and post. Once you've posted, remember to clear them. Let's go and look at the other type of auto fee template that we have, available WIP by debtor. This creates the fees using the WIP with balances written off. 3 options that we have. We can use the available WIP and just bill a certain amount and it will write off the difference. We would just bill as per the available WIP is on the selected client matters. And in this case, I'll go through and show you the example of writing off all the WIP. Put your date of when the transactions are going to be to, and you have the option to include disbursements or not. Review your filters. In this example, we were doing a write-off, and we might be doing this as a periodic write-off. In this case, I'm looking at a year-end write-off cleanup, and the criteria for these is looking at where the WIP balances, the WIP total excluding any interims, so the net balance of WIP excluding interims is $40. It will go and create a batch and call it a name, and we would simply select the invoice date to be the date of posting. For a write-off only, that will be the transaction date of the WIP only adjustment. You get to go through and review your list, so you can see if there's anything in here that you do not want to write off, and simply uncheck it. Select Next. There's no narrations for write-off only, and it will go and create 34 transactions. To double check this again, you could use your batch manager and run a report for that particular batch, i.e. a batch summary or a debtor summary, and you can review everything in that batch to make sure that it's going to write off. Once you've reviewed that, you would go and complete the next process, sending it to the person to approve if it needs to be approved, or go ahead and post it. So what have we learned? We've understood what Reckon APS terms as auto fees. It creates a fee batch that you can view on your invoice work list to review before you post. Those batches of fees are created either by standing order by matter, which creates interim fees, or it does it by available WIP by debtor. If your practice uses interim fees and standing orders by matter a lot, we would recommend that you review the value billing module. The value billing module has more options, allows you to set up contracts, and also a much more flexible fee schedule. On behalf of the Reckon Training Academy, thank you for your time. If you need to get in contact with us, please do so from here.